And good evening, everyone. Welcome to An Orchard of the World. This is our second session. Right off the bat, I should tell folks, unfortunately, our longtime friend and my esteemed co-creator, colleague, and I don't know, everything, Serafina, has an unavoidable conflict and has to drop out of the series. This is unfortunate for everybody involved, but we wish her the best, and I'm sure we'll see her again. But luckily, I was able to find someone to step in at the last minute, which we greatly appreciate, and I will introduce him shortly. Because if you've watched this channel, again, all four of you, you will have seen him before in the last Tolstoy game we ran, a Most Unfortunate Love. So, first off, let me introduce the heart and soul of the Kingsport Drama Society, our dear friend and the greatest criminal mastermind in all of Russia. Please welcome Daryl, who's playing Timofey Petrovich.
Hello, hello. I am Daryl. My pronouns are he, him, and I am playing our dear Timosha, who is a part of a radical new revolutionary abstract art movement that is sweeping Moscow. He has a polarizing voice on the scene, and no one is indifferent to him or his work or his presence. His youthful appearance belies an obsessively observant nature. Though little is known publicly about his background, he comes from an overbearing family that he no longer speaks with. He owes his chance at success to the people who basically set themselves up for success before him and then left him in the dirt. Let's be really honest. So that includes some people such as my dear friend, Anatoly Ruslanovich, and my other dear friend, Elizaveta Kiryovna. And because I have, come back to the scene and have tried to establish myself as like the hot new voice, I've also decided that I'm going to basically worm my way into the heart of the theater that is their home and is the place that they cherish, and we'll see what happens there. I'm definitely not out to destroy anyone. Certainly not.
I feel like it's just refreshing that you're wearing it openly on your sleeves from the start. So undoubtedly, this is going to end up being the one where you end up making the full sacrifice to save us all. Hey, there's another absence I should have noted in passing at the beginning. Our dear friend Richard, who plays the aforementioned Anatoly Ruslanovich, is doing a Gen Con thing today. So we don't get to have him, but he'll be back next week. So next up, what can I say about Leandra that I haven't already said many times? The soul of the Kingsport Drama Society, if Daryl is the heart. Leandro is someone I'm always extraordinarily lucky to play with. And is, of course, a martyr to time zone differences. And speaking of which, is playing our martyr, Alina Grigorievna Kovalova. Yeah, I'm supposed to be halfway decent at this.
Yeah, well, I chose the exact one that you would have a trouble with. I just knew that from the off. Hi, I'm Leandro. You see him pronouns. I'm playing Alina, aforementioned Alina Grigorievna Kovalyova, who is the aforementioned martyr from humble origins. She's a sharp, if somewhat dour woman with plenty to say, but little need to say what she wants. She works at the Kovalyov Theater, which is technically owned by her brother, but in practice run by her because her brother, dear Victor, just believes too much in the good of the world, apparently. She's long committed to forever having to prop her family up because someone has to. So Alina's buried old dreams, doesn't try to long for anything because why? But perchance, though, the spark of love may give her something new to pursue. Unfortunately, that person she wants to pursue is not here tonight. So she will just have to make do with having to deal with this rundown minor league theater and hope its inhabitants don't just leave too many scuff marks trying to climb all over each other, off each other, on top of. No other words. Alina's doing her best. That's all I can say.
That was impressive, Leandro. Also, one should note that probably you're barking up the wrong tree with Anatoly Ruslanovich, but But on the other hand, unfortunately, marrying Richard's characters is kind of a tradition around here. So, um,
If it goes better than the most depressing engagement proposal of all time, I'd be okay with that.
yeah, that was a long time ago. Napoleon has been and gone since. Um, so finally, someone who very, very, very graciously signed up to step in at quite literally the last moment to fill in. Someone I had the joy and pleasure of playing with last time, and decided to pick up one of our connections and turn it into a main. So this is going to be amazing. So please, let's welcome Brian, who's playing Elizaveta Kirilovna Oblonskaya.
Hello. Yes, I am playing Elizabeta, who is the current star of the troupe, and I think is due for a fall before maybe Metro Rise again. We'll see how it goes. And she is currently rivals with Varya. And she was formerly close with Timofey, although discarded him callously, as she is wont to do. And it's just a matter of time before Varya has been undermining me, threatening my position with the troop.
It's not undermining. It's just ambition. It's just.
If one person comes up, one must come down.
That's not my problem, old lady. Hi, I'm Kat. I had the idea to do this. I like Russian literature, and it comes out in these games. Chekhov is probably my second favorite Russian writer, behind Tolstoy, and maybe one of my favorite playwrights. So anyway, I am playing Varvara Pavlovna Morozova, a young actress who has ambitions of both being a famous actress and writing for the stage. She has a thing for Alina, but that doesn't seem to be going anywhere. She's trying to become a star in the theater productions, and that also doesn't seem to be going anywhere. But we're gonna go have a picnic, so maybe things are gonna work out on all kinds of ends. Okay, so last time we did actually sort of finish the first novel chapter, but we're gonna take a quick step back and open up with a scene that we're planning to do, wherein Alina and Timothy and Varvara were going out to have a picnic on a nice sunny weekend day in Moscow, and we're reasonably sure that Liza is going to crash this picnic, and it will be delightful and certainly will not result in a spitting cat fight between the four of us. So how shall we kick this off? I for sure went and got Alina before anybody else could come. So the only question is, do we want to open with Timothy arriving, or are we walking together now for a while?
I like the idea that I come upon you as you are having some sort of conversation. And however awkward that may be is the perfect right moment for me to step in.
Perfect. I picture Varvara wearing, that kind of slightly mannish 1890s women's daywear, the jacket and the shirtwaist blouse and the big skirt, maybe with some kind of seersucker print and a straw hat, walking arm in arm with you with her parasol over her other arm.
Yeah, I think Alina does look, just to reflect her background, quite a bit shabbier compared to Varya. I think she wears, I don't know what clothing is. I'm going to say the type of clothing that will make you think that she can pull off better.
Are you wearing black? Are you in mourning for your life?
I'm I always wear black on the inside. That's my secret. Okay. Also, she doesn't have a hat.
That's my
That's
secret cap. I'm always mourning.
many things to mourn. But yeah, I think Alina doesn't have a hat. That I just need to make that quite clear. And she doesn't. Varya pops off the screen compared to Alina, for sure. No, go ahead.
So I went down to Sviskoye Prospect this morning to get us some skolachi to eat while we were walking, but of course, the store was already all sold out. Honestly, it's the only drawback of being a theater person, I think, is that we get up so late in the day that by the time you go out to all the stores, all the best dainties and pastries are already all sold. But I did get you these flowers, Alina. I hope you like them.
Oh, well, they're quite lovely, Varya. I was just about to say that the key to little trivialities like that, and I hazard to call them trivialities because, of course, we've had many working actors and actresses who've had to deal with that sort of problem. Is well, don't forget that we are a theater troupe. It's not just everyone else who has to get up late. There are folks who have to manage the office, and I'm pretty sure quite a number of them will be happy to make sure to get your order when the shops are open, Varya. She is like holding the flowers. Don't worry about it. She's like, but she has to press her point.
That's so much extra planning. I spend all my time planning my lines and my readings and my blocking and doing other readings and going through plays and I don't know how you manage to do all these things and manage the company, Alina. It's impressive.
Well, firstly, a little bit of planning means a little extra pastry at the end of the day. But I take your point. It's its own kind of work, I suppose. And well, I suppose when you do your learning lines and you're learning your places, at the end of the day, it's all worth it, isn't it? Sure, we do a lot of planning, but you do all that planning to get the result you want.
Well, the result I want eludes me. But one has to do all the work to try and get there, I suppose. It's just, well, I'm not going to bore you. We already talked it to death, that I think. I think I deserve this part. More than Liza. But it's too nice a day, don't you think? It's lovely. The chestnuts are blooming. Have you ever been to Paris, Alina?
Honestly, no. I've never had the privilege. Have you gone to Paris?
Just once, when I was very small.
How was it? What was it like?
In the evening, there's this hour when the sun hasn't quite set, but enough of a purple twilight is descended on the streets, and the gas lamps are being lit all up and down the avenues and the boulevards. And inside the restaurants and the cafes, they're filled with a glowing light. It's enchanting. It's like nothing else in the world. This quality of light, it suffuses. That's the only word I can think of. It suffuses everything. And you know that inside the restaurants, there are people sitting and talking and having meals in their own private worlds, and some are sad and some are happy and some are having coffee and some are having wine. But there's this entire bustling world all around you, and somehow it's all just a little more romantic. That's what Paris is like.
I think we're about reaching the point where we're gonna have a picnic, and I think go ahead. I think Alina is. I think we can see at least that Alina's like drinking in what Varya was describing, and there's that bit of like, oh, I wish I could do that. I think she was about to say that that sounds magical, but Daryl, I see you're. You can crash in here if you want.
Yeah, I think at that point, like you hear a voice from like a small like clap from behind you, and you both turn around to see Timothy walking up in like a gray day coat or something like that, and probably has like a cigarette between his fingers, and he says to you, "It's like, my dear Varvara Pavlovna, that was so poetic of you. If I didn't know better, I would say that you were reciting a soliloquy from some great work. If only I could capture Paris in paint the way you just did in words."
Well, I had no intention of it being any sort of set piece, but I'm honored that you found it poetic. I myself would love to see that captured somehow, but surely you must know Paris.
I have spent time in Paris, but it would belittle the beauty of the city for me to try to compare to the way that you have presented it.
True, but you could paint it now, and I would have that rather than a faded 15-year-old memory.
And he I think that y'all are walking up to the place where like the picnic is like being set up, and you see that like I've also had like a kit of like paints and stuff that was brought there. And I say, well, certainly I can't show you a finished painting. The canvases are all back at the studio, but I do have my sketchbook. And he like pulls out like a big like sketchbook and opens it up, and there's just these like really lovely like scenes that are sketched in pencil and charcoal.
If I didn't know any better, Timothy Petrovich, I would assume that you were here to sketch us two lovely girls. And she gives you a grin.
And I say, and I kind of like flip to a clean page and pull out some pencils and say, well, I must admit that there was hope that I could kill two birds with one stone, as it were, by attending.
Well, you would do us an honor, Timofey.
Come sit down, Alina. Let's sit on the grass so that he can sketch us better. And I try and arrange it so that Alina is kind of like leaning on me, and I've got my arm around her, and I'm sitting up, and she's more reclining.
Yeah, I think Alina's gonna like let herself like be led a bit because she's still kind of like chewing over that vision of Paris. So she's fine.
So let me see. Oh, I need to make sure my tokens are properly reset because I think I might just spend it right now. Well, I mean, let's see if I even need to spend a token for this. I think that I sit there like I prop up a stool and I get the sketchbook out and I start like doing some like contour, and then I look at you both and I say, no, this just won't do. There's nothing artistic about this framing. And then I walk over and I start saying like, Alina, I'm going to need you to lean like this. And dear Varvara Pavlovna, please drape your arm like so. And it becomes this much more like, like risque kind of like painting style pose that is probably uncomfortable to hold, but like increases the intimacy greatly.
Well,
I have no objection.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Alina's like, oh, she doesn't know art. And I think she says right there and says, well, whatever you say, Timofey, I must confess that I had little to say between yourself and Varya's chat of art. Frankly, the images in my head these days, all they swim of are of numbers and news and all sorts of prosaic nonsense. It would bore the two of you greatly, I assume.
On the contrary, Alina, I think that there's art in everything that we do. And I think that in their own way, art and numbers and figures could be, or numbers and figures could be just as invoking and powerful as anything that I could potentially sketch, or potentially anything that our dear Varya here could perform. As a matter of fact, you know, As a matter of fact, I think art is really the only way we're able to pursue our ambitions. And if figures allow you to pursue your ambitions, how is that not art?
Timothy Petrovich, the last thing that we need to do is to encourage my dear Alina in pursuing numbers on a beautiful sunny day when there's pollen in the air and everyone is so happy. Don't you agree, my dear? And I quite conspicuously use the informal for Alina, while using
Yeah.
the formal for you, Timothy.
Yeah. I like this running gag of like Varya says something quite intimate to Alina, and then someone crashes into the scene. This might be the time. I don't think Alina will notice that, but just before she's about to say something,
I'd love that. So maybe a carriage comes to a stop conspicuously along one of the cobblestone paths, and then a servant steps down, puts his hand out, and then Eliza comes down from the carriage and smiling brightly to the group, and she says, "Well, if I am shocked to see my good friends from the theater out on this lovely day."
Ooh, I really like the idea that you may actually use Eliza, like the English version of your name.
Did I say Eliza? I thought I said Liza.
Either one is good because it's. I think in Russian it's more proper. The nickname would be Liza, but this is
Okay.
yeah. But no, I think this is great. Totally like just flaunt how good your English is at us.
But
Yelizaveta Kirillovna, how charming it is to see you today. I would have thought you would have been rehearsing.
oh, I was until very recently. There's my voice director told me to rest my throat a bit, so I decided to take in some air. The healing properties of nature and all.
Well, it's always so refreshing to spend
Oh,
time in the out of doors. You know Timothy Petrovich, don't you?
Timofey Petrovich Yashvin, of course. How are you, my dear?
Yelizaveta Kiryovna, it has been too long. And he walks over and he sets the sketchbook down, which shows like a very risque sketch of the two of you. And goes over and like grasps your hands and shakes them, and you see like no recollection of like no like animus or like ill will in his look. He's just very graceful and like clasps your hands and smiles.
She'll smile back and she'll say, "How go your little scribbles and nonsense?"
Oh yes, well, you may have seen in the post that my little scribbles have won yet another award. My last show just the other night was such a success that they had to close it to the public. There were so many people trying to attend.
Well, then I'm doubly shocked. I have heard nothing about you here in town. I'll have to look into it. My spheres must be too small.
Well, I'm
And
sure that you'll see more of my work very soon. I've actually been contracted to do work for An Orchard in Winter. So I heard that I heard that you'll be auditioning for the lead.
just for
oh,
context, Orchard in Winter is the play that's going to be put on
sure,
by the theater. That's the part that Varya wants and
the
has
big one.
bad-mouthed you about.
It's
Yeah,
of course
and
just a
also,
tradition here at the Kovalyev Theater Company that we always open audition for all parts.
Yes, no matter how they may have already been decided, it still allows them to scout new talent for secondary roles and such. Um, yes, I do. I have been practicing for my audition. There's no need to get lazy just because one is known.
well, I'm sure
Uh,
that the best woman shall win the role.
Absolutely, she will. And I don't believe we've met. Correct me if I'm wrong. She'll turn to Alina.
We would have met. I'm the
Okay.
sister of the person in charge of the theater. We might
Thank you
have
to
met.
a gap on her part.
Okay. I think like Alina like will stand up from like the pose and kind of like stiffly like smile and says, "Dear, dear Elizaveta, I'm glad to see that you've been putting some work into your profession. I'm sure my brother Victor Kovalyova will appreciate all the effort that you've been doing for us."
Absolutely. Well, I should have recognized you, little Alina Grigorievna Korovalyova. How has your work gone?
Oh, well, unlike dear Timofey and Varya and yourself, my work is unspectacular, unflashy, quite invisible, and yet without it, I do fear if your hard work would shine as well.
I quite agree. I for one, am delighted to have you in the wings.
um, I think like the mood is definitely a bit sour now. So Alina will say like, "Well, I suppose we should all follow your work ethic, Elizaveta, and I would like to wish you a fair bit of luck to be in the open edition. But I suppose you've never needed that much luck in the past."
Well, I appreciate it nonetheless. But I'm sorry the picnic is breaking up so soon. I was hoping you would invite me to join you.
Well, well, I'm sure Timofey or Varya would be happy to have another artiste to trade stories of Paris and other such beauties. I'm afraid, though, that the work calls to me.
Well, I'd hoped that we would take a lemonade together, Alina, but I suppose you're correct. Timothy Petrovich, would you mind walking me back to my apartment?
My carriage is right over there. I'd be happy to take.
Oh, I would hate to put you to such trouble.
Very well. Have a good day. Have a good day, my friends.
And then Timothy starts to pack up his like sketchbook and everything, and says, like offers an arm to Varya and says, "Well, yes, I would happily accompany you back to your suite. I think that there's a bit more modeling for this sketch, and that could turn it into something truly brilliant."
I turn and watch as Alina walks away from us and say, "And here I am, having already purchased a bottle of champagne this morning, and now I'm afraid it will just go off if it's not drunk."
Timothy looks over his shoulder as well, like so. Like the two of you are looking back and seeing if Alina reacts to that at all.
Ooh. No, I think Alina has yeah. You can barely tell if like any of with Varya's doing work on Alina, honestly. She's like walking away. Not thoroughly put out, but I shouldn't be explaining her thought process. I need a token for that. No, she doesn't. She didn't notice.
Then I think that before heading off, I think that Timothy pulls a card out and offers it to Elizaveta and says, "You should really stop by my studio sometime. Perhaps you could model for one of my new paintings. I'm very invested in capturing the erotic and grotesque at the moment, and I'm sure I could capture your energy beautifully."
That is quite an offer. I will have to keep that in mind. Let me think about it.
Of course. And then he gives you like a little bow and then walks back over to Varya and says, "Let's not let that champagne go off, shall we?"
Some people find that champagne gives them a headache. Do you find that to be the case with you?
I have found that I enjoy all kinds of fine beverages, and they have only pleasurable and ameliorating effects on me.
I should warn you, it has been known to set my tongue in motion.
Well, then certainly we shall have to pour heavily upon our glasses so that I can keep up.
I believe that this day is not going to end as dismally as I thought it would. Curtain.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we're horrible. Cool.
Lovely to see Liza.
So, I guess we should do a epistolary, because, sure. We're all terrible people.
I have a letter to Liza.
That
To
didn't
Liza?
take
To
long.
Liza?
Go right ahead.
No, I was composing this as soon as she made the flub. Dearest Elizaveta, while it was charming to run into you in the public, I would ask that we have a meeting, perhaps at my offices at the Kovalyov Theater. I do want to emphasize that we at the theater very much have taken pride in the work you've done for us, especially in your starring roles in many such productions, such as I can't make up a play name on the spot. I keep thinking of films. Sorry, the Heart of the World and other such tales. And I would hate to see that your hard work would slacken in recent times. I would very much like to advise you that young Varvara Morozova has put in quite a deal of work into this new production, but frankly, she doesn't need a vocal coach to put in this work. I would say more, but I do believe a personal meeting would better get the point across. Now, if at your convenience you could come to my offices, I would be happy to receive you. Yours, Alina Grigoryevna Kovalyova. And it's sent with the official stationery of the theater troupe, if there such a thing existed. Probably didn't, but why not?
Perfect. I love it.
I have a letter I would like to write to my dear Alina Grigoryevna Kovalyova. Enclosed, I have included a number of preliminary sketches for the upcoming production of An Orchard in Winter. I have not had the chance to run these by my dear Anatolia Ruslanovich, being that he is currently absconded to warmer climates. But I was hoping to get a preliminary round of feedback on the overall approach. You'll see that I have included a number of sketches that diverge along a number of axes, and some which are more in line with particular ideas than others. I would much appreciate if you could pore over them with that expert eye of yours that that look for detail and that find a way to help me clarify this vision and move in a direction that will be most advantageous for our vision and for our budget. I have also enclosed a number of smaller sketches that I think will be of personal interest to you, including a lovely one that I dashed off the previous weekend at our picnic. You'll see that our lovely Varvara Pavlovna has been kind enough to model for me in the refinement of the sketch, so I hope that it will excite a more artistic frame of mind for you. It was, I must say, quite the enjoyable piece to pen and a nice diversion from what was otherwise a short and interesting conversation with your, is the term prima donna? I'm still learning the theater terms. Please respond post-haste and feel free to keep whatever sketches catch your eye. I have more in my portfolio. With respect, Timofey Petrovich Yashvin.
Okay, I've got one. Mine is going to be to Victor instead of Lena. She's going to write, Dearest Victor Grigorievich Kavalogia, I received a letter from your dear sister asking me to meet her in the office, but I'm afraid I couldn't quite find the time. I was hoping that instead of instead of prolonging unnecessary meetings, if you could simply come to my home, where I would be happy to meet with you to discuss my role in the play. I look forward to seeing you soon, Elizaveta Kirilovna Obaskaya.
I added a connection to Olga Pavlovna Akhmatova, dear godmother. Thank you for the kind words you sent, and of course, a copy of the latest plays from France. I spent an entire afternoon reading them aloud to a friend of mine who was most impressed by, if nothing else, my diction. I come to you again, godmother, although I have no right to ask, but I do need some advice. I am up for a part. It's a good part. The play is not well known. It's barely finished, if I'm to be completely honest. But it is by a promising young playwright, and I'm sure, as you know, a promising young playwright can change a young actress's life. Anyway, this young man, Anatoly Sidorov, has written a play called An Orchard in Winter. There's a part, coincidentally, sharing a name with you, dear godmother. I would be magnificent in this part. I'm the right age for it. The character speaks to me. She is a young provincial girl trying to make her way in a cold and uncaring city. It is my life, Olga Pavlovna. It's my life. But of course, life does not transform itself into art without hard work. Dearest godmother, I beg you to find some advice you can share with me. And if you can't share only advice, if you could perhaps drop a few hints in the right ears, I would appreciate that. I would say something about how it's unnoble of me to seek a part in such an underhanded manner, but you have trained me well, dear godmother, and I know that every advantage an actress may take is justified in the pursuit of her art. We have such a short time that we may trod these boards and win the parts that we deserve before age and cruel bias condemn us. But I know that it's a painful subject to rehearse with you. I have every anticipation of coming to see you next Sunday after church. I shall bring the pastries and I shall serve the tea in your old mentor's tea set that he left to you. With all my love and regard, yours very, very truly, your goddaughter, Barbara.
To my dearest Yelizaveta Kirlovna. It seems that several lifetimes have passed since those days when we used to run around the yard in our ramshackle rags and play games with the country boy down the lane. It seems that I have lived innumerable lifetimes since then. It seems that the world has changed remarkably, year after year, in less than a decade. And yet, coming across you that day at the picnic was a surprising and electrifying moment where suddenly 100 lifetimes didn't mean a thing, and I was just a young country boy in rags once again. I have not thought about those times in many, many years, my dear Eliza, as you seem to be going by now. But I would hope that perhaps we might be able to rekindle some of that childhood joy we once found. Certainly, I would much prefer that we run around the Paris nightlife than around the stables and stockyards that we did once before. But I confess to say that I would much prefer to have some sort of kind word, kind moment between the two of us. I feel as though that moment in the park last weekend was a moment between two strangers, and I would sorely like to correct that. It has been a very long time since I have thought about those country days and that country boy. And yet now all I can think about is those moments of you and he and I. If any of this sounds to your liking, please find me at my current hotel, address enclosed. Yours sincerely, Timosha.
My second letter is to Timofey from his quote-unquote agent, Rosalia. Yeah. Dear Timosha, I very much hope this is the letter he will answer with some haste. As much as I enjoy the 4 to 5 months interregnums that occur when I bring up business and would find no reference to whatever business I might bring up in your replies, their charms are becoming more and more limited as days and the weeks and the months go by. Although I suppose you're trying to achieve a hat trick and letting it reach to years. Nevertheless, I have to make my near weekly request that if not to furnish me with more works, then at least an update would suffice. Let me be frank, Timosha, your brand is becoming stale. They've seen the same watercolors, they've seen the same portraits, the same landscapes. They have been drunk to death by the eyes of Russia's elite. And the fact that they want more is testament to your skill. But there has to be more. I think you and I can see that there is a solution to this problem, and that solution would be more. If I cannot expect to see anything new, then I would very much appreciate an explanation. And please let it not be I have found 2 to 5 latest fancies that I must chase, perhaps in pursuit of some muse that would inspire me, because because that line's charms are beginning to become more limited as well. Hope you're doing well. Yours truly, Rosalia Vladislavovna Efimova. Always yours.
Liza is going to write back to Timothy. Timosha, you do not need to remind me of the days we spent before. I remember them quite well. And I remember many things quite well. Please do not mistake my graciousness in public for forgiveness in private. I wish you well, but I wish you gone even more. Elizabeta Kirilovna Obaskaya.
Dear Tima, I hope you can forgive the way that everything ended on Saturday. It is certainly neither the case that I found you offensive nor that, shall we say, the flesh was not willing. I merely had a moment where I was seized by a sense of the wrongness of what I was doing, and I suppose you deserve some explanation. It is nothing to do with you, dear Timothy, or rather, nothing wrong with either the idea nor the condition that we were in at the moment, but I think you can understand, Timosha, what it is to burn for someone who always seems just a little bit out of your reach. I don't know why I assume you know that. Certainly you put on the air of being a notorious rake, a blackguard, and every other horrible thing anybody could ever say about you, or at least that they say about women. Men always seem to come out better in these exchanges. But having seen your art, having talked to you, having watched the look on your face as I read from those French plays, I know that you felt disappointment in your life. Well, I've known it too. And I know I'm just a foolish young girl, and that I have foolish dreams. And yet, in that moment, I could not but feel that there was an enormous sense of betrayal stealing over me. And it's not warranted. It's an illusion, and it's a shackle that I've been trying to free myself from, because I know that I would have been happy in that moment, that, believe me when I say it, Timothy, I would have liked nothing better than to sink deeper into your arms in that moment and to drink the wine of your kisses even more deeply. And yet, I could not. I don't know where that leaves us. I don't want to lose you as either a friend, nor am I telling you to stop pursuing me, though the fact of this letter may be enough to put an end to that. I am not incognizant of the chilling effect my words will no doubt have on you. But I think somehow that you value the honesty more than anything else I could say or pretend to. So I will tell you that in that moment, I could not give my heart to you. And do not think that I have not regretted it since. It's very lonely in my rooms. There's nothing there but cold water and starched linen. No art. Nothing but the poetry I find in my books. Dear Tima, if you're not too put off by this letter, if you do not think me a terrible jade or some sort of blue stocking, then I do wish that you would accompany me this weekend. There's an exhibition of some of the French artists. Not of course the academicians. I would not waste your time with them, but real art. If you were willing to come, please return your card with a time, and I will meet you there. I will undoubtedly otherwise see you somewhere in the theater. I do hope that this will not put any chill upon our relations, because You are the greatest breath of fresh air that has stirred the lonely boughs of the tree of my life in quite a long time. With my deepest affection, Varya. Is that everybody with a letter now?
I've done 2.
I've done 2.
I've done 2.
I've also done 2.
Oh, we're out of letters already. Awesome. So we're coming up on another novel chapter, but before we go there, we should probably do a wee bit of upkeep because we've got some connections on the board, and only a few of them have been actually assigned to anyone.
Also, Liza probably needs some connections.
Yeah. But before I go anywhere, since we robbed you of a connection, Daryl, would you greatly mind reprising the role of Olga Pavlovna?
I most certainly could do that. I shall do so. I will claim that one.
Oh, she's now one of the greatest actresses of her generation. Amazing how that happens.
Olga Pavlovna was one of the greatest actresses of her generation. It wasn't just Connie talking. She was way more famous than him. Not by a little either.
I love how I took your connection and you took my character concept and made it your connection.
Yeah.
The original. Yeah, no, it worked perfect.
It seemed like too good an idea to pass up. And I was going to actually name her Masha, but then I'm like, wait. I was like, one of the greatest actresses since Olga Pavlovna. Oh, wait. So it's easier.
Yeah, perfect. As far as my connections, I think one of them should be Kirill.
Oh my god.
Would you be interested in seeing Kirill?
Yes, I'll do that. Sure. I have no idea what Kirill is like. Is he still married to what was her name?
Angelica?
Yeah.
Angelica? I don't know. What do you think is more interesting? I don't want her to be.
Yeah, no, I don't. That's let me think on that. It's possible, or it's possible that she left him for being a horrible human being.
She could still be in Germany. I mean, we set it up that they were moving to Germany. So.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, they must have stayed together long enough to have 2 kids. So.
Must have. Well, yeah, I didn't realize what you were setting up at first because the way you worded it in the bio was the daughter of a disgraced nobleman and a trooper. But I'm like,
yeah. I noticed that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
You need a little bit, a philosophical prima donna.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. But yeah, okay. So I'll make him the connection. I got to find the old character sheet to get the name right.
Oh, I can do it for you.
Oh, okay, great.
I think. Wait a minute. Actually, now I can't remember. I think he was Alexandrovich. Yeah, he was. He was. Right. He was Maxim's grandson. We should probably let Brian grab a connection. Oh, Valerie. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. There's Valerie, Valerie Pavlovich is Varvara's brother, an army doctor. We've got Boris Maximovich, who's also an Oblonsky. That family, man.
I'd like to stay away from those people, because who knows, they might end up being love interests. Maybe I'll take Veronica.
Yeah, that sounds good. Cool. Romantic love triangles. Excellent. Our work here is evolving and it's getting better. Okay. So let's talk about this novel chapter we're gonna do. Today we've got your basic mix of varieties. We could do an event chapter, we could do a visiting chapter, or we could do the split chapter. The neglected child of the novel chapter types.
You believe I actually did see that happen this week?
Wow.
It did happen. Yeah, it was amazing.
We technically did one in First Belligerence and Benevolence. Yeah.
I should listen to that again.
Yeah, that's really good.
Okay, yeah, I know it's really good. I lived through that. Not to say that me saying I lived through that meant that in a pejorative way. I meant that in a loving way.
No. You pick up more stuff when you listen to it, though. That's for sure. Anyway, we could even bring in a little Emma DNA and do scenes, vignettes. I don't know. We've got some room to maneuver. We're in unbroken territory here, folks. But probably it's a little easier if we stick to some of the types. I don't have a great idea for an event, but I'll open up the floor. I mean, theoretically, I guess we could do auditions, but I think we'd really want to have Richard here for that to be the annoying playwright.
Yeah. So visitation sounds good.
Or we could do a fundraiser benefit.
Is that a thing back then?
Yeah.
I should know this. Okay, all right.
Well, so what it would been is a little bit less like everybody and their grandma come in, and a little bit more like let's go to the house of one of the rich patrons of our theater company, and he will invite all his other he would invite all his other rich friends over, and maybe we would do some sort of command performance kind of thing. So yeah, that's totally a thing we could do.
Yeah, we can say that what Cap is proposing, a fundraiser, is kind of like a tryout for the tryouts. This is like the most openly catty the actors and actresses can be, because at least in the auditions, in the actual tryout, they got to be professional. But here in a more, go ahead.
Well, and I assume that if we were to do something like the fundraiser, that it would be kind of like a review, where it's like everybody gets their quote unquote moment to shine, which could be like hijinks about sabotaging each other, or clandestine words spoken in the wings, that kind of thing.
You know who could be hosting this? Olga Pavlova Akhmatova, the Grand Dame of Moscow Theater.
Love it.
So okay, cool. Well, I know what the scene I want to perform in this review. It's going to be a scene from The Two Noble Gentlemen of Vitebsk, with Olga reprising the role she originated, and me and Liza playing the two noble gentlemen. So it'll be very farcical.
Oh my god.
Okay, so all right, we're at the salon of Olga Pavlovna Akhmatova, Moscow's greatest living actress, except of course because she's 56, she doesn't get to work that much anymore. Except for Grand Dame parts. A generically large mass of rich assholes here. So how shall we begin? I mean, generically large amount of rich assholes sounds like something that Timofey Petrovich will be all over.
I think that there was probably, what it was, is probably Olga had come on the stage and gave her big, "Mesdames and messieurs, we are here gathered today to provide a new opportunity for the Kovyov Theater to rise once again to its sparkling heights. As you know, the Kovyov is near and dear to my heart." And then she goes on and on about the performances that she's seen there. She doesn't really mention her goddaughter, but says that and there will always be the heart of Olga Pavlovna Akhmatova treading those boards, no matter what happens to this frail husk of a body of mine. And then she immediately like segues into the comedic performance that we were supposed to do. And I would love to pay a token to either actress to flub it up somehow.
I mean, it's got to be me. Since I got to set up my desire.
You forget your line.
Perfect. So, should I? Do we want me to play out me forgetting the line, or should we just let it happen off screen?
I think we can totally just like play with the setup of like, you know, what's like the most farcical thing that could happen? Like, perhaps we're like on a boat or something, and like Varya's character has just fallen overboard, and you have like the big comedic line in this, and
Well, I would definitely say that's what was the line?
Well, Boris, I thought I was the one who was all wet.
curtain comes down. Like smattering of applause. Like, yeah, so I gave one of Olga's resolve tokens to Elizaveta.
Okay.
And then I think that she like Olga like turns around and like takes one of your hands and says, "It's all right, dear. These things are bound to happen as you get a little bit further along. You know, it's just a matter of time, really." And then turns to like help Varya like up off of the floor, and then like they walk off stage.
Eliza will glare at them, but she'll open her mouth to try to recover it, but she won't think of a good way to do so, and she'll just walk off stage awkwardly.
Godmother, I can't believe it's how funny you are in that role. I thought you were mostly known for your dramatic work.
Oh, you're being kind to an old woman, my dear. Although I must say that that role is near and dear to my heart, and I think that I shall likely go to my grave knowing every single word of it.
Didn't Konstantin Sergeyevich write that for you?
Indeed, he did. What a like esteemed and amazing playwright. He was truly before his time.
I wish I had known him.
Something tells me, my dear, that you would have found him most unsuitable.
Well, yes.
And I think that she actually, like, as you're like going away, that she leans in and says, "By the by, is that your competition for the lead role in that new play that strapping young man is putting on?"
I'm afraid it is, Godmother. You did not see her at her best, as much as it begrudges me to admit it. Liza is actually a very good actress. It's just she's a very good actress in a lot of things, but in this part, I would be brilliant.
Well, let's hope that she's the one who ends up all wet next time.
Yes, I don't know. Am I doing wrong, Godmother? I so very much want this part.
My dear child, it is imperative that you do everything that you possibly can to secure the roles that call to you. If this role calls to you, if you know that this role is one that you are meant to originate, and you will always know, my dear, you can feel it in those bones that do their own thing, even when you want them to do something else. If that's what it feels like, then you know that's exactly the part that you need to get.
Thank you, Godmother. I don't know what I would do without you.
I don't know what you would do without me either. I don't know what Russia will do without me.
Is it true about you and the Grand Duke and No, don't tell me now. Tell me some other time.
So, a lady never tells secrets. She lets her jewelry do that for her.
I think Varya is just completely starstruck. Like,
Varya and Kat both, apparently.
Yeah.
bleed, my friend. It's your friend. Oh, I'm so jazzed up. I have to go find Alina. Alina, did you see? I can't believe I was able to pull out that line.
Uh, it, that was well, that was very quick thinking of you to save to paper over Liza's mistake there. That was quick thinking of you. Thank you very much, Varya. I'm sure I hope your godmother. Well, I hope your godmother and her friends did not mind so much. You know how important tonight is for
Oh,
the theater.
fortunately, nobody really remembers Konstantin Sergeyevich's plays anymore, so I'm sure they won't know what the actual line was to begin with.
Yes. Well, it was. Putting on this production was, or this specific play was a. To be frank, Varya, it was a bit of a sop to your godmother. So I hope she appreciated it.
Oh, I thought the scene was funny.
Oh, it was lovely, but you know how it is when one is behind the production. One can only see where things could trip up.
Oh,
But
that's
you were
true.
lovely, Varya.
Thank you, Alina. And may I say you look like quite lovely tonight.
Well, given the usual lack of thought I put into this, I hazard to guess what you would say if I actually put some thought into. She looks
Oh,
out at whatever she's wearing.
I mean, I would be happy to assist you in any way. As you know, I must always think about my image.
I I would not mind some input, I suppose, though, Varya, surely there's so much already in your mind.
Well,
You already have so many plates to spin.
you know, I had hoped that you were going to actually make our appointment to have coffee this week, but you seem to have forgotten.
Well, out of character, did they actually did we establish this and I legitimately forgot? Or
No, we didn't
okay, cool.
establish it, but I'll happily give you a resolve token if you want.
Okay. I think Alina like sighs and says, I do apologize. Some coffee and some good company would have been wonderful, but I might reveal my secret to you at this point,
Ooh.
just so we can use that. Things have been a bit rough back in the Kovalyov Theater's offices. There's an attention that's been distracting me all this time, and I'm sorry, Varya. I don't know if, as much as I prize your forward thinking, I'm not sure if you could be much help. This is less art and more business numbers, I should say.
She puts a hand on your arm. It's a sisterly gesture, mostly. It just says, Alina, I've all the confidence in the world that you will find a way through this. So rather than trying to help you solve this problem, I just want you to know I'll always be there if you need someone to talk to.
I, you would do me well to remember that. I assure you, I will not let this slip my mind, Varya. If there is any trouble, I wish to be able to help as well. That's all I wish to do, honestly.
Well,
Make sure.
I'm more worried with you. This is what I propose. Let me go and talk to all these people and make sure that they give us money. I must go and speak with Liza. But afterwards, I happen to know a little place where they don't mind actors showing up well after midnight to drink champagne and to drown their sorrows for a little while. So come with me tonight. Come with me to this cabaret. You'll enjoy it. It'll take your mind off of everything.
I think that's gonna need another token.
I am out of tokens. Already gave you a token.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Thought
well,
the- Oh
if you
yeah.
want,
Oh
if
yeah.
you want that to be a combination package, I could totally do that.
Yeah. I'm just thinking like. All right. Well, let's talk this through. I think Alina would want to, but Joe, want to throw one last roadblock and just push Varya just that little bit further. Just not sure what Alina would say because she
Okay.
wants to. Yeah.
You really want a resolve token? That's fine. It's like I just grab you. I just look at you like, please come on. You're so sorry all the time. You're so unhappy. I can't stand it. Just come with me. And I'm going to burn my eager reputation tag and turn it into a token and hand it to you.
Ooh, God, give me so many tokens.
I know you have
also,
4 now. How the hell did that happen?
I think. Ooh, Brian had a
the
suggestion
secret,
in chat. Yes, I think maybe that loud of outburst, will like attract Liza's attention because you were very loud about how unhappy Alina is. If that's okay with Brian.
Yeah. No. Perfect.
I'm pretty sure that's a resolve token. Here's a question though: I guess it's negative to Alina's interest, so I guess it should be paid to you, huh?
Getting all the tokens all of a sudden. What's
Of course, you're Leandro. You're a token magnet.
I actually think it should go to Kit because it's going to directly result in me trying to edge you out.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Done.
Okay. I think what Alina would say so that Liza would find out is just, well, when you put it that way, maybe a night in a cabaret would distract from all of the theater's debt, I suppose. Maybe art can be more preferable to numbers.
Good. You'll come. That's wonderful. I'm gonna go find Liza because we're still sisters in the grand fraternity of thespians, and she flubbed the line, and that's something that needs to be addressed in a kind way. I will go and do that.
Yes.
And she gives you a peck on the cheek. I will see you soon.
I think Alina's like surprised enough that I don't think she says anything if it like just flounce off. Did that really happen? Oh. Go ahead, Brian.
I think Eliza's entertaining some gentleman, gently fanning herself as she laughs at some dumb comment. She overheard what was happening, but she's trying her best to look like she wasn't. So when you come up to her, she'll beg their pardon and then step away. What do you want?
Look, Liza, I just wanted to say, I'm sorry you messed that line up, and I don't think anything the worst of you. It happens to everybody. It's a silly little play and a silly little scene from 30 years ago. We only did it as a favor to my godmother.
Yes, well, I'm sure you're very sorry about it.
Liza, I have enormous respect for you as an actress. Maybe that's not apparent just because just because I want a part so badly. You get all the parts here. Now, you've worked hard and deserve them, but I've worked hard too. I think you should take the part of Masha in this play. It'll be a good part for you, and I'll play Olga. It's,
The supporting role? No, you have no true understanding of Olga.
Olga, I am so much like her that when I read those plays, I hear her words in my own voice. I'm sorry, I'm not a nobleman's daughter. I grew up in the provinces, a little town that's famous for nothing, except maybe illegitimate children.
That's a superficial understanding at best.
Well,
I have lived this part. I have been studying it for months.
Liza, I don't want to be your enemy. I don't even want to be your rival.
You're doing a bad job of not being my enemy. You've been telling everybody who will listen that you wish to have the lead part and that you don't care who you have to step on to get it.
I doubt I said step on, she says, and crosses her arms and taps her foot. But yes, I want this part. I'm ambitious. It's a good part for me, and I'll do well in it. You must have done something similar when you first took the stage.
Yes, I worked. When I was your age, there was a woman just like me. And I didn't destroy her career in order to get my parts. I worked hard.
I'm not going to destroy your career. You're going to get so many leading parts this year.
What have you done to earn such a thing? What great performance have you done? That little line in that little play, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard from you.
Why are you so cold and bitter? There's no call for this. The only reason would be is if you are somehow frightened of me. And I don't understand why you would need to be frightened of me. To play a slightly smaller part in one play by an author practically no one has heard of.
You just don't understand. You are a fool.
I understand very much that you want to have everything and make sure that no one else has anything.
What is this really about? I don't think for a moment.
What is it really about? I'll tell you what it's about then, Yelizaveta Kirillovna. It is about art. I care about this part as an artistic statement because I believe I can make a grand artistic statement in this work in a way that I could not do in any of the other parts in this play. And this is the first play that has spoken to me that way. For you, all this is a competition. You don't care about the art. You want to make your life an empty and devoid shell. You want to just go up and go through the motions and amuse a crowd with some little turn of phrase that you have that's oh so comme il faut. Live for the art, or just give up and become a pantomime artist or something.
You think you know me so well, don't you?
I don't think I know you at all right now. I thought you were a sister in the arts.
I think she's just going to put her hand up kind of in front of your face, like just an inch or two away from your face. Just be gone. I no longer wish to speak with you.
Excusez, je vous prie de mieux excuser, ma prima donna. And she stalks off.
She'll turn her attention back to the gentleman. She'll glance back behind her as you walk off, and give you just a glare before she plasters on her smile, and she says to the gentleman, "So, which of you fine men would be willing to put forward some money for the theater in my name?"
I so want to see either Timothy or Alina talk to Liza right now.
I would actually love for Timothy to swoop in at this point and say,
Oh, I didn't see your message. Sorry.
yeah, so as you turn back to the gentleman and make your statement about like who should donate in your name, the first person you see there is actually Timothy, and he's holding 2 flutes of champagne, and he just smiles and offers one to you and says, "Oh, I've already done so. In fact, it was one of the bigger donations of the night."
Well, I suppose it's good. I suppose I should not be too surprised that Timofey Petrovich Yashvin is a patron of the arts.
I have always admired artists and those who live bravely in the public eye.
And tell me, who do you admire most that exists in this public eye?
I mean, if we're talking about the greater artistic community, I think that there are a lot more horses in that race, but I don't think that's the question you're really asking, is it, my dear?
I suppose I'm asking the same question I ask everybody.
Yes, and who should play the part of Olga in An Orchard in Winter? Seems to be the question on everyone's lips right now.
Well, they would be wasting their time asking that question. It seems obvious. It is obvious who it should be.
Is it? And I like look off at the like fuming Varya across the room.
In a few more years, perhaps she'll be up to the task, but until then, she is a second stringer at best.
My dear, that second stringer is moving heaven and earth to try to claim that role.
Nothing has come of it yet, has it?
Well, I mean, it's still early days, but she seems to have caught quite a few eyes. Not just her performance here, but her eagerness with the Kolyavs, the ways in which she has an opinion and an investment in every single thing that Anatoly Rizlanovich says. Have you not seen the way she sparks up a room the second he walks in? And have you not seen the way he listens?
I'm not.
Well, you do not attend rehearsals nearly as much as some others do. I have observed while working on some backgrounds.
I've been practicing on my own in private, where it is my method.
My dear, I understand that practice makes perfect, but is not theater much like dance? Is it not more important to find the certain moment between two bodies than it is to have one's form down pat alone?
First, one should know how to handle themselves in their own minds. Then, perhaps, they can let another person into their tempest of emotions.
I would say that a tempest only forms when 2 people are at play. How else are you supposed to have something to bounce off against?
I would say any talented performer is able to make their own tempest.
Yes, I suppose you would know all about causing storms, wouldn't you?
Of course. Well, what is I can't help but wonder what you're getting out of all this.
I merely have an interest in the Kovalyov Theater. I merely find it fascinating that so many bright and radiant people seem to gravitate there. I mean, by all means, it is, if you'll forgive me, a bit of a second-rate theater, and yet the passion and the fury that goes into it, it's almost enough to make me want to pick up a brush then and there.
So, the theater is your muse?
I wouldn't go so far as to say it has become my muse, but if a muse is housed in a temple, perhaps mine is housed in the Koviov. And he like leans in a little bit and like smiles at the last bit.
I don't believe you.
You were never very good at believing me anyway, were you?
I was once. Well, if you don't mind, I have some men to talk to about some pocketbooks, if you'll excuse me.
He left me too, you know.
You weren't anything, if you'll excuse me.
And I think that he says this, like, maybe not so much that you'll hear, but so much just to say, it's like, no, I wasn't anything then. But pretty soon, you'll be nothing too.
Ooh, love it.
Impossible woman. Philistine. Traitor to the sorority. Ridiculous. Varya's just fuming in the corner.
I would try to figure out who to throw my monologue token at because there's a lot of good choices. God.
Maybe save your monologue token for when we go to the cabaret. Jesus.
Were you inviting someone to come up and talk to you as you fume?
Yes,
Or...
absolutely.
I think that Timothy snags another flute of champagne and like crosses the room and like places it within your grasp.
Oh. Merci, monsieur. Impossible woman.
She does seem to pour acid wherever she goes, doesn't she?
What made her this way?
I couldn't tell you.
I mean, they say there's all sorts of scandal around her father, but I don't know. It's not polite to repeat things. It's just gossip.
I think it is more important to treat someone how they treat others than it is to take any shot at their situation.
That's extremely fair of you. You're correct. I went over there trying to build a bridge, and she set it on fire and then threw me in the river.
That is her way, or so I've been told.
Oh, I don't understand it. All she cares about is she only cares about this part because it's like scoring goals in some ridiculous match. Timothy Petrovich, I think you're like me. You know that this is about the art.
For you, it is about the art, and for me, perhaps the same. But something tells me that for Elizaveta Kirillovna, it is more personal than that, and it has nothing to do with the beauty in the world. If anything, I think that our dear Liza might pile up achievement after accolade, after trophy, after starring role, because they are not expression for her. I think they are in some way armor.
Well, then I feel pity for her, and I don't want to.
It is truly a tragedy to be weighed down by one's successes. I think it does well and it reflects on you that you pity her.
It's not as if I don't have a blackness in my heart. I want that part so bad, I'll do anything for it.
That thing you call a blackness is merely a desire to live radiantly. It is not shadow, it is light. It is a thing that I observed from that very first moment I saw you in the restaurant.
I can never tell if you're being sincere or if you're just flirting with me, or if sincerity is the way that you flirt with people.
I'm sure that there is a truth in there somewhere.
Well, you cut quite the elegant figure tonight, Timothy Petrovich.
and your performance was radiant. Truly, I know that line is not in Constantine's original play, and yet you implemented it brilliantly.
To be fair, there's a lot of lines one can interpose into that play. It's really not very good. It was very popular for a brief period of time, so who knows? The tastes of our the taste of our parents is sadly lacking.
As they probably said of their parents before them and their
Right.
parents before them.
Well, it was a different world. You know, my grandfather was a serf.
I think that this world is truly something unique and marvelous, because once upon a time, that would have been a black mark against you. You never would have succeeded. And yet here we are, able to do whatever we want, wherever we want, and our backgrounds don't matter.
That is very easy for you to say, monsieur.
Well, yes, I suppose that I have been lucky in my ways, but I would be luckier still if I could appreciate the company of your company for an evening, perhaps to once again model for a sketch or two.
Is that what we're calling it now?
A sketch will happen.
I cannot tonight. I have pledged to take Alina Grigorievna to a cabaret. It's an entertainment she sorely needs, I think. And I, for one, would not mind seeing her in a place where she may open herself to more experiences.
I would endeavor to invite myself, but something tells me that if I am patient, I shall be rewarded with all the more radiance to capture from you another time.
It may well be that I shall that the stream of my affection shall remain dammed. It's true.
Well, the more light that builds up inside, the more that can't help but spill over. After all, if you were to keep all of that energy pent up for day after day, week after week, year after year, you too could be as great as your godmother, Olga Pavlovna.
My godmother never married, and yet, I assure you, sir, she was no nun.
I have heard the stories of Olga Pavlova's radiance.
She was something. When I was a child, she took me to Paris. She was astonishingly beautiful in those days. And they all fell down at her feet. I think that's the day I wanted to become an actress. Not so much for that. The way that she was able to transfigure art into glory. I don't know. Perhaps I say too much.
I'm starting to understand how you spoke so glowingly of Paris. Your memories are seen through the eyes of your godmother.
Well, perhaps. She was well regarded there. Always was. I think she still goes there, or to the south of France sometimes.
The south of France is lovely. Not quite the speed of Paris, but still very
I've never
enjoyable.
been. I often think of going someplace like that, or the Italian Riviera, with someone who I had affection for.
Well, how's about we place a bet? If you can manage to secure the role of Olga, then after your multi-season run in the lead role, which will be extended at least 3 times, then I shall take you to the south of France. Or perhaps I shall bully Alina Grigorievna to take you to the south of France. I'm sure she would appreciate a vacation as well, if she could stop tabulating for a moment.
Such a embarrassment of riches. I hardly know which way to choose.
Well, let us cross that bridge when we get there, or perhaps they'll be the same bridge.
You're a very interesting man, Timothy Petrovich.
I endeavor to be nothing less.
Well, I must go and circulate among these old men to make sure that they hand over more money, and then I am going to take Alina Grigorievna to a cabaret. However, nothing prevents me from perhaps finishing the evening in your quarters. I believe you owe me a bottle of champagne.
One shall be chilled and waiting. You do remember the address, don't you?
It shall not be hard for me to find, no.
Well, until then. And he just raises a flute and fades back into the crowd.
So do we need to see Alina in the cabaret? Part of me wants to, but part of me is also like, well, but what happens?
Brian was suggesting that Alina and Liza have a scene. We'll see what happens. It might put Alina in a... We'll see what mood Alina emerges from that, and we'll see if we can want to do the cabaret or not.
I am there for that. Let's do this.
So, I think Liza will seek out Alina.
Yeah, Alina's just like probably finished talking to a few more gentlemen, and when she turns around, she sees you and says, "Oh, Liza. Sorry, let me just where are my tabs? Elizaveta, Liza, how has your night been?"
It's been going quite well. I've secured no small amount of funds for the theater.
Oh, well, as always, myself and Victor greatly appreciate all the work you've put in. And I do truly mean that. Wave all backbiting and sarcasm aside. I was concerned, though, about how you're feeling after the production you just put on.
Oh, that trifle. I simply, it's been too long since I had a chance to review the script. Believe me, when it comes to an act of real import, I will not do something such as that. Speaking of performances of real import, I wanted to apologize for not being able to make that meeting you arranged.
Oh, that's completely fine. I assume you have said you kept yourself busy, and well, quite frankly, I have been quite busy as well. I just wanted to reassure you that. Sorry, drop the dice there. I just wanted to assure you that whatever talk happens outside the theater, what matters is the work we put in once we're in the theater. That what happens outside stays outside, and I would like to think what we bring into the theater is a sense of professionalism and just making sure we do our best.
Exactly. I couldn't agree with you more. It's absolutely a matter of who can give their best.
And as we know, you've been giving your best for quite some time, not just on stage, but here as well. I'm glad to see you're not as perturbed by well, as you call it, trifle, as I thought you would be.
Well, if I have been at this a long time, and if I let every little mistake ruffle my feathers, I wouldn't be where I am today as the premier actress of the theater.
Well, I'm glad I'm glad you're finding pride in your position. I would not like to think that. Well, I would not like to think anyone in our theater is complacent, but certainly not you.
Certainly not me. But speaking of not being complacent, I was hoping that I could speak with your brother regarding the performance, so I could get a better feel for the role and the performance I'll be making.
Well, Victor is Victor. His door is always open, but So I'm trying to think like what Alina's reasoning would be to either go yes or no on this. Well, given. Oh, I wouldn't say no to that. After all, if you are truly interested, you would pursue any avenue to secure your position. I'm always glad to see that the Kovayo Theater has many ambitious actors and actresses treading its boards.
Well, good. Then you'll set up a meeting for us.
Yes. I suppose you will not mind me asking if I pry into what exactly it is you want to speak to him about.
Oh, just the basics. I wanted to assure myself that I am that the part is already set aside for me, and that this is all formality, and go over and begin my character work, and deciphering the mystery that is Olga.
Out of character, can I ask, is this a regular thing that Liza does? Liza or Liza?
I think she's done it before. Yeah, I don't think she's always done it, but the bigger she's gotten, the more she's expected.
Okay, all right. So this isn't like out of the blue. Okay.
Well, what do you think's more interesting?
No, I think I'll play with that. It's just like I'm curious. I think I guess I'm just curious to know what Eliza wants, as always. I think Alina says, well, that seems all above the board. Forgive me for maybe being a bit cagey. It's just, well, there is a surprising amount of interest in the parts in An Orchard in Winter.
I've noticed, but I mean, certain people would be perfect in lower roles, but they would not be able to capture Olga the way I would.
Oh, that is well, forgive me for saying, Liza, but that is a sentiment I've been hearing more and more often these days. And
Who have you been hearing this from? I'd be happy to disabuse them of that, of their hubris.
Well, I believe they would be happy to do the same. And as much as it seems to be entertaining father to, and as much as I appreciate you two putting so much competition for this part, if I would be so bold, I would only advise that whatever happens, there will be another production. There will be another play. We are a working theater. There is the fervor that's been generated it's been a bit bewildering, Liza.
If I were to tell you something, could it remain solely between the two of us, Alina?
Yes. I would not want to break anyone's confidence.
I intend for this to be my last performance at the Kovolyov.
I think. Go ahead. Keep going.
I don't wish to say I would leave you. I don't wish to say I would leave the theater without their biggest star, but should I be able to make it to a far more prestigious theater, it would be a boon for the theater and for me as well, and it would give certain people a chance to get lead roles for the first time.
I think Alina, who has been holding a champagne flute, and that's kind of been mostly kind of airy, a bit airy in this conversation because going to the cabaret later, that should be nice. I think you drop that, and she kind of like sets the champagne flute down. It's just, well, I can understand the logic in that, I suppose, Liza. And I'm glad that you've decided to disclose that.
To you, I don't want everybody getting all weepy about.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I would not reveal this to anyone without your consent. I will. Here's a very. In my position, I shouldn't just promise as much as I can. After all, despite what may say in the books, I am just but one person in amongst those in charge. There's still Victor, who you have a chance to meet.
Of course. That's why I wish to speak with your brother.
Yes, I understand. After all, you would not be the first to outgrow our humble abode.
I will always look at my time at the Carvalho Theater fondly.
I'll take that into consideration, Liza. That is the most I can say. But thank you for bringing me into your confidence.
Of course. You're going to the cabaret?
Yes, I've been invited for. Well, I've been told that I could stand to smile a bit more.
Delightful. Well, I'll see you there.
Oh, and you're gonna be there? No, she doesn't say that. That's me saying that out of character.
I didn't realize it was a secret. I will spend a resolve token if that was hidden information.
No, it was just like I didn't know Liza was gonna be there as well, which is great.
It's strongly implied it's a little gay.
She'll come. There's no way she's letting Varya out of her sight right now. So.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I think you won't. Let's leave to knowing about Lina and Varya until we get to the cabaret. But yeah, I think I was just like, I didn't realize Liza would be on the warpath.
Look, she's threatened. She's a wounded animal.
Yes, and apparently, oh god, Alina should have questioned that. No, that's her problem, not mine. Okay.
I think that's a wrap on that scene, at least.
Yeah. God.
Awesome.
You're muted, Kat.
Do we need to go into the cabaret?
Yeah. Well.
Come the avenue.
That was all I was thinking about when Olga was making her welcome speech.
Would it be better if I had Veronica at the cabaret and then I could just let Liza be in the background, keep an eye on things?
Ooh. Yeah, if you want to bring Veronica in, I would love to see her.
I mean, she is your ex, right? So.
Oh, yeah. Okay, all right.
We're terrible people.
God.
So I made a slight change. I decided that it made more sense if I struck one of my negative reputation token tags off because after all, it negatively impacted me. So I took headstrong off. Because pretty much, you're gonna come with me. I want to make out with you. All right, yeah. So my only question is, have you gone to this cabaret before?
I don't go to... I mean, I used to go to cabarets, yeah. Probably not been in a while.
Okay.
Yeah. Not in the last couple of years.
So I like leading you in, holding your hand in a completely, homosocial way. No subtext. Like, isn't it amazing? Look, there's jugglers and someone's dressed as a bear. Where's that a bear? Well, either way, right?
Bear seems new. I think like Alina's like still a bit like, well, for a combination of I've not been here in a while, and also Liza's like she's a bit distant, but she's like, oh, um, she looks a bit overwhelmed, honestly.
I'm so happy to be free of that Philistine Harridan, and you and I can just sit and we can drink and enjoy ourselves. And look, come here, come. I just grab you and I just shove you into a dance position. I'm leading. Come, let's dance, Alina.
Sure.
Come on, let's dance. The night is still young. It's only midnight.
Of course. You might find me a poor.
Barely even dark outside.
Yeah.
Moscow in June, friends.
Oh God. I think it was like, oh, I would be a poor dance partner, Varya. I've not danced in quite some time. Okay.
You're not the first girl I've led.
I think like Alina like it's like, well, you're not the first girl to lead me, I suppose.
Well, now. Aren't we cozy now? Isn't this so much nicer?
Yes.
This seems like a great place for Veronica to enter.
It's a Varya keeps getting people just jumping in to whenever it's I'm sorry.
So Veronica is wearing a fur coat even though it's July. And she comes in and she's carrying 2 glasses high up in the air. And she says, Alina!
Veronica! I didn't expect to see you here. You look this is Varya. You look well.
I don't have the pleasure of meeting you. Forgive me. I'm Varvara Pavlovna. I work with Alina as an actress in her company.
Oh, an actress in her company.
We're good. We're very good friends.
Well, Dobry Vichir, Varya. You two look so adorable. Oh, you are so cute. Alina, you must let me. I brought you wine.
Veronica, even now, you did you even know I was going to be here, and yet you had wine with you?
I have wine for whoever may show up, and you happen to show up.
I suppose. So I've not been here in quite some time. You would not mind, Varya, if I partook?
No, not at all. Please, I can see that you are friends of long acquaintance.
I'll bring her back to you, I promise.
See that you do.
As soon as she turns her face, she'll just laugh. Alina, how have you been, my dear friend?
Well, as I said, given it's been some time since I've set foot in this place, then it's up to you to calculate, Veronica. Do I look well? Do I sound well? I feel
you
well.
look fantastic. But that is neither here nor there. how have you been? I heard the theater is flourishing.
It it comes and goes. You know how it is. It has missed you quite a bit.
Of course it has. I'm being gentle. I hear it is a disaster.
Veronica, it is only as much in disaster as I allow it to be. You know, there's only so much I can do.
You are too good for that place. You know that?
As I've heard many times, yes.
You have not heard it enough because you are still there.
Veronica, where would I go if I were to leave the theater in Victor's hands alone? What? Where do you see me anywhere?
Anywhere is the answer to that question. You, you are like the pig that is stuck in the pile of shit that is in the barn. You need to it doesn't matter where the pig goes after it gets out of the shit. It is better than being in the shit.
Veronica, I'll have you know that is my family's shit that you are talking about. And
who cares whose shit it is, my dear?
I think I will take the wine that you offered. We'll down it in one go. And says, even after all this time, Veronica, your rhetorical devices fail once more. If you really think that trying to convince me that I've been wallowing in shit for the past... I'm trying to figure out how many years she's had this theater. A lot of years. More than 5, for sure. For the past 5 years, would convince me to stop myself in wallowing shit when I clearly do not see the shit. I would have thought you know how to do better at this point.
Well, I suppose I do not. You were wrong. In this one case, you are wrong. I cannot give up on you. And who is that girl? That one. When she looks at me, I feel like I'm being melted with the snow.
We both know you are as hardy and as immovable as any building here in Moscow. That is Varvara Pavlovna Morozova. She is a rising star in our theater. She's quite enthused about me, Veronica.
Oh, enthused. That's adorable.
I suppose if given the option, you would possibly disabuse her of any notion of me.
Look, who you are with, that is no longer my call. If she treats you well, that is all I care about. But you should take her to Moscow. You should leave. She is... Just do not let her tie you down, is all I ask. That's all I ask.
You say it doesn't matter to you, and yet you told me that you still haven't given up on me. Someday perhaps you'll convince me of what it is you think I have. But I guess that's not tonight, is it?
I spent years telling you what I think you have. You need not hear it from me anymore. And go ask her where she thinks you have. I would think you would be far more interested in that.
I do miss you, you know?
I miss you too. But you cannot let yourself get tied down.
I think Alina is like, wishes she had more wine. And she says, I'm sorry, Veronica. It's too late on that front. I can only... Go ahead.
I've made my peace with that, but I still think you are meant for better things, my dear.
Well, perhaps some other time we can talk, but we are. Forgive me, I've left Varya alone for too long. Perhaps
Yes,
we can talk in less salubrious settings.
it is so hot in here.
I think she just gestures at your coat.
And then she's just gonna drift off.
You could join the bear in that coat, Veronica.
The bear should be so lucky.
I think when Alina comes back to Varya, she is and Eliza could have seen. Tell me, you can say, Brian, how much Eliza's seen by the end of it, but Alina will like.
Go ahead.
Okay, Alina will like come back to Varya. How's Varya doing?
You look worse for wear, Alina.
Oh, it's just what happens when one meets old friends in unexpected circumstances. You say, "I'm sorry. I've you brought me here, so I will be less unhappy. I'm afraid I might have wasted your time a tad."
It's all right. I will. Let's get a cab. I'll take you home.
No, it's only way past midnight.
No.
I wouldn't.
You're not in the right mental state.
It's just simply some wine. I think like pitch over a bit. It's just simply some wine. It is not something I've partaken in such a long time, but it is. I can still. It's fine. There's a bear on the stage.
I put a hand on the side of your face. Elena Grigorievna, almost no one is kind to you in your life. So let me be kind to you and take you home now.
I think Alina will like just look there, really close, but Varya, you give your kindness out so freely.
Well, what can I say? You inspire kindness in me.
I hope I'm not the only one who does that.
People think that kindness only comes from pity, but that's not the case. And then I just take you outside.
Yeah.
And put you in. I think I'm going to put you in a cab because it sure sounds like Timofey is in the area. So I think we should have Yelizaveta talk with Timofey, and then I'll wind up with Timofey, and we can call that a novel chapter, maybe.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, so how much did Liza see of Varya and Alina's night out into town?
I think she definitely saw that you were together. I mean, if that's okay with you. She's not going to, I swear to God, she's not going to use it against either of them. Except for maybe the fact that she's going to know that Alina will probably side with Varya if things come down to it. But yeah, I'm not going to have her like try to blackmail anybody or anything.
Mm-hmm. That's grand. Yeah, I think I'll definitely. Yeah, you saw them dance for a bit, and then Varya taking Alina out. That's all good.
All right, perfect.
So,
Well,
so I think that while as you witness this, and as you see them like spirit away, out of the corner of your eye, you catch Timofey like standing in a corner with a drink in hand, talking to a strapping young gentleman that, just because we're going to twist the knife since it's your episode, looks incredibly like the stable hand that abandoned us both.
so I think she'd go up to them. And she'd say, well, excuse me, and you are? She'll say to the person, and then without even waiting for a response, she'll, excuse me, and then she'll just put her hand on Timofey and like lead him away.
It's like, that was rather rude. I was having a lovely conversation with Sergei.
I think Sergei will forgive you.
What do you need, Eliza?
I don't know. What do you know about Varya?
What would you like to know about Varya?
I have learned some things about her tonight, and I'm trying to get to know her a little better, so that way I can make sure that we are both in our proper places.
You want to put her down.
No, I want her to be lifted up next year.
What's so special about next year?
I would rather not say.
Liza, you made it very clear in your correspondence and in our previous conversation that you have no use of me, except now you apparently have use of me? Well, whatever you think is useful of me actually is no longer my concern. Because you see, I have put away any childish memories I might have once held, and at this point in my life, the only thing that matters to me is making sure that Orchard in Winter goes off as a smashing success. And quite frankly, I'm of the opinion that that means Olga must be played by Varya. I don't think that you will be bringing quite the gravitas to the role to really make it a hit. You may not know this, but I've observed you. I've been seeing your performances for the past few years. And while I have truly seen rage and anger and world-shaking power radiate from you in some moments of our life together, I did not witness it on the stage. But I think that Varya can bring that.
Varya is a child. She's
And
an amateur, and you know it. You be honest with yourself and not resentful for our past grievances, and you will know the same.
what makes you shine, Elizaveta?
I'm talented. I'm beautiful. I am confident. I have put in the work. Nobody works harder at their craft than I do.
All of those things make you a pretty young thing, yes, but those aren't the things that make someone shine.
And your opinion is valued so highly because
After all, you sought it out, so it must be worth something.
that was my mistake. I can tell now. I can tell already.
You need to show me something that shines brighter than what that girl can bring to the part.
And
Let's
if I
be
can,
honest. If you can't, then I will continue to do everything in my power to make sure that Varvara Pavlovna gets the role. And considering my name and my societal clout, be it still young and of the moment, I do not have the longevity that you have just yet, still holds sway amongst the Kovalyovs.
I would rather have you in my corner than against it. I'll admit that much at least. But and if I succeed at showing you that I am better for this role, what will you offer me then?
My endorsement for the part, both publicly and in private conversation with the Kovalyovs.
What is with this painting? I would not ask in public, but we're as close to private as I care to get with you. Uh, oh, you said the grotesque and the erotic?
That is my current fascination at the moment.
What fascinates you so about it?
I crave something that feels so alive I cannot help but cower in its presence.
I should not have been surprised about that by you.
Well, I do have something of a habit of putting myself in situations where I could very well lose my everything.
You always have been a risk taker.
Once
Well,
upon a time, so were you.
I'm taking risks. I'm just taking longer term ones.
And hedging your bets everywhere else.
Perhaps. But it's worked for me so far, has it not?
Until it won't.
That's not yet. I'll let you get back to Sergey.
I'll see you at the audition.
Indeed. And Shelby? It was a good scene. Thank you.
So, in Moscow in the summer, it basically never gets dark. So in that early morning twilight, or like 2:30, 3 in the morning, where the sun's going to be close to coming up, I think Varya sees Timo over there. Timosha, you have a disappointed look on your face.
Sergey went home with Andre.
Sergey, your tastes are Catholic in a most Greek Orthodox way, I suppose.
I prefer to think of myself as a man of eclectic tastes.
Eclectic. Well, I suppose. I mean, they're not unknown.
I mean, after all, I did have my sights set on Sergey, but I think that I shall be tasting something rather different and be completely fine with it.
You're quite forward. I'm not saying that such attentions are not unappreciated, as you might have guessed. Well, doesn't matter, does it? People make the choices they make.
My dear Varya, if you continue to put on such a sad face, then I will be forced to ply you with champagne until we can both console ourselves into oblivion.
Stop it, Timosha. Stop that. The two of us are standing here alone. In the middle of Russia on a summer's night. And I am the actress. Don't you perform for me. I am done with artifice for the night. I am done with Philistinism and pretending to be things, and I am done with walling yourself off. For the love of everything that you and I care about, I ask you for one moment of honesty with me right now, Timosha.
Now is the moment where, in any other conversation with any other person, I would have told you that I wish to take you to my studio and paint you. And we know that I would not have painted you, but it not for the reason that you think, or that maybe even what either of us want in this moment. My dear Varya, you have asked me to be honest and open with you. You are an actress who does not want to act in this moment, and I am a painter who cannot paint. So what kind of artistic miscreants are we? What kind of failures of our craft are we?
I think we're two people who found each other in the right moment. And that could suffice. And I'm sorry, Timo. I did not know that.
I think he starts to like laugh and like wave a hand as if he was gonna wave it off and make a joke. But then like instead of a laugh that comes out, it's like a half-choked sob. And then you just see this pristine artifice that has been on his face since the moment you met him for weeks and weeks and weeks just fall apart, and tears start to roll out of his eyes. And on that street corner in Russia, in the twilight of dawn, he rests his head on your shoulder and cries.
Curtain. What just
People are
happened
sad.
here? Yeah, wow. We're some sad Russians.
Never would have expected that.
We're also supposed to be decayed aristocrats. Okay. Can we call that novel?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay, so on to questions and secrets. Tima gave up his secret, so you could be looking for a new secret here. Ditto for Alina.
I know Varya put in so much work, and yet the secret I'm considering is that like Alina is just not in love with her.
Oh no, that's totally fine. But I think I'm going to put a question in here. Will Varya choose Alina or Timo? Can she?
So what's the deal? Do we pick one question and one secret?
No, there's actually no limit on questions, theoretically. They should just be the kind of things that we as an audience might want to see. You don't have a secret. You do need to have a secret. But
Well, I think the fact that she's leaving the theater after
Yeah.
this performance.
of course, you revealed it already. So that was kind of like a secret that you revealed.
Whoops.
No, but I mean, it's totally exactly how that should work. I think we could just leave that in there because it's only Alina who knows, and it's not like Alina's going to tell anybody.
It doesn't feel revealed to me. It just,
It doesn't
you know,
feel. Yeah, I agree. We haven't quite gotten the juice out of that we could. Ooh, damn you, Timo.
Will Timofey endorse Varya or Liza for the role of Olga in An Orchard in Winter?
Damn it, that was going to be my question, except Alina is in. It's going to be in that. I have to think of
I
another
think-
question.
questions.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross off that one question about will Varya play Olga, because I think these are the actual real questions.
I was in an era where Liza was connection, not a main character.
Yeah.
Oh, Timofey is just courting everyone. Huh?
I decided to lean into it this time. My secret is also that Timofey is currently burning through money quicker than he can make it.
Oh boy. There you go. There's our decayed aristocrats.
I'm going to do what will Liza resort to keep the part, to keep her part. Or I guess to get her part. So she doesn't quite have it yet.
What would she resort to? I'm scared.
I don't know. I think it I don't know. Too vague for a question. Will Liza find a personal life outside of her job? I don't know. I kind of want to explore that.
Okay, then let's leave it on there. I mean, this is an experimental technique, so let's give that a try. That doesn't sounds like the kind of thing that we should be steering the story towards, so let's try it.
Yeah, I like the idea that questions are less like, stuff we have to use for resolving, more like, here's a scene we might want to see.
Yeah. I mean, they're basically doing the same sort of thing as Rumor, but I feel like there's less... They feel a little bit more organic because there's less, like, I have to come up with some kind of creative, scandalous thing.
Oh yeah, no, rumors are weapons. That's what they
Yeah.
are. They're missiles trained at other people.
I have made very little secret that this is my backdoor proof of concept of some stuff I'm trying to develop for a different version of this. So
I tweaked it. It's will Liza find something that is more important to her than her position?
Oh, that is good.
Ooh. That is primarily what she talked about. This session.
Yeah. I mean, it's her life. Like that's why it's so important to her, But who knows? Maybe she'll find something else. We'll see.
I mean, that's also basically the way to dismantle Timofey's plans for you. Is like, I see that your position is the most important thing to you, and that's what I'm gunning for.
Mm-hmm.
How do you stop me?
If she finds something else, will Timofey ruin that? Who knows?
At the very least, I will have to take a year off to figure out how I'm going to do that.
I love it.
I'm good.
I think I'm good on questions and secrets.
Your questions have to be about ourselves, or can we ask questions of other people?
I think we can ask questions of other people.
Okay.
As long as the questions are interesting. That's what we care about.
My question is, will Alina ever demand her brother's recognition for her labors, or continue to be his doormat?
Ooh.
I thought the question was going to be, will Alina ever just chill?
The answer is no.
No.
We're
So close.
We're not going to ask questions about that we already know the answer to.
Hey, speaking of which, Leandro, I was wondering, do you want Veronica to want Lena back? I was leaning against it just because you said you wanted it to be the ex, but I don't know who broke up with who in that scenario. So, which would you prefer? I can go either way.
Ooh. I think Alina wants to be able to talk to Veronica without the two of them getting to a fight. I don't think it's much getting back together. They're exes. She wants to be amicable exes.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I was already playing her as pretty amicable, but I can make her more angry if that's what you like.
Yeah. No, I think Alina probably wasn't expecting it to be amicable, but that's fine. I was imagining that it was Veronica who broke up because, again, Alina tied herself down.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I can play that. But does she want Veronica, or does Veronica want Alina to no longer tie herself down so that way they can get back together? Like, is that her endgame, you think?
Maybe. That would depend on what Alina wants, and I'm not sure what it is. We're at the point where, I don't know what my character wants, except she has many choices.
I'll try and hint that she might still have feelings, but that until the situation changes, Veronica's not going to.
Yeah, the main part is that the person Alina does want is Tolia, who isn't here.
Okay, I wasn't sure what Alina did want because I haven't seen Tolia at all.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. That's why Alina's so evasive tonight, because she's distracted. Person she wants isn't here.
Gotcha.
Cool. So reputation. I for sure picked up a negative one. I am reasonably sure that I acted in an uncouth, low class, or vulgar manner when I had a spitting fight with the Madonna in the middle of a party.
I feel like at some point Alina presumed to order, instruct, or make a demand of someone of a higher rank. This is going to keep happening because I've made her the kind of de facto in charge of this theater, despite being from humble origins.
No, I love it. I love it because she's too good. She's running it thanklessly. I love it.
Yeah. I just want to hit one of these new rep conditions. But yeah, at some point, whether it was either with Varya, Veronica, or Liza, oh God, she's trapped. She presumed to order someone for sure. So
Think
over that.
Firebrand. I'm not really quite sure that is negative enough.
So we do kind of feel like since Eliza's not going to use the information she found against her, she should gain. You made a sacrifice or denied your own desire to preserve the dignity of yourselves or others in an unbecoming situation.
Yep, that works for me.
Oh my
Okay.
God, she's thawing.
I know.
I don't know about that, but
So
she's not. She could be a worse person.
That's true.
So I need help coming up with a negative tag because I took a positive tag of inspiring because I definitely laid track for trying to inspire Varya toward her dreams. I tried to talk Alina up to like a more artistic way of life. But the thing is I'm trying to nail down is I also want to destroy Liza. And I also have intimated that in my quest to do that, I will sell out Varya. So what is that?
Wow.
Well, that sounds like you were publicly defending your past bad actions. So that can get you a negative.
Boy, so much for former friend. Trying to get your former friend back. We're just going straight rivals around. I'm cool with this.
I mean, like, I extended the olive branch and was summarily dismissed.
I'm just making it work.
I think you earned both. To be honest.
So I love that your list of people to have liaisons have extended to all the main characters. It's fab.
I mean, I
I
think Alina might be actually out of my grasp, but I think I can still totally get like some like hate feels on with Liza. I'm sure that like lock us in a cabin or something, like give us a bottle episode and we're fine. I still need a negative tag for my backstabbing though, unless it's just backstabbing. Is it just backstabbing?
Yeah, or vengeful maybe, or
Vengeful. I like that one.
Okay. I went with zealous.
I'm trying to think for mine. It's something along the lines of like sloppy or just socially messy.
Maladroit.
Maladroit. Oh God. I mean, I'm all up. Awkward. Yeah. Ooh. Maladroit's kind of good for that. It's there.
Bumbling, incompetent.
Well,
Hey,
go that far.
just get up on Alina. I hope you enjoy the 2 negative conditions I wrote for this one. So,
yeah, they're really good. Let me read them out for anyone who might be watching this. Masochist, your continual self-debasement makes others avoid your company, excluded from polite society. Gee, I wonder who you wrote this for. The other one is a connection who depends on you turns against you and actively opposes your interests, which is fascinating because that would give Victor a bit of a lift in the narrative, kind of, because Veronica, I'm kind of like interested in having a messier relationship with, but Victor must have feelings about people saying it's her sister who helps run the thing. Maybe I'm just saying this because I want to continue to self-debase myself without any repercussions.
You want that masochist thing.
I mean, familiar contempt and Victor just decides to stop listening to your advice would probably work really well. especially given he's got an untapped strategic reserve of resolve tokens.
Yes, 4. Jesus.
Yep.
Also, just saying that would complicate both of our goals to make sure that our chosen people get the role of Olga. If Victor goes rogue and just suddenly like won't listen to you and for some reason maybe has a falling out with Timo, a third party might enter the match.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, that'll be complicated. That'll be complicated for Varya and Liza.
I can't wait to see Anatoly. Very excited about seeing him next week.
He's so good. He's the only one who's monologued so far, and Richard's great, so it was great.
Richard is lovely on every level possible.
I'm gonna take familiar contempt because Victor. I want him to be the unexpected. Wait a minute, because he's not been as shitty as the past Victors that I've had as connections.
I mean, that makes it easier for me.
Would it? Let's see.
Okay, so that's good, and this works out nicely. We'll do an epistolary phase to catch everybody up, and next time, and then upkeep, and hey, maybe we'll get that coveted two novel phase episode in. We usually get like one of those, so cool. Guys, this was lovely. Brian, thank you again so much for stepping in at the last minute. This was great. Wow. Elizabeth, wow, you are a bitch on wheels. That's amazing. Thank you.
I love playing my terrible people.
Yeah. Yes, thank you again for jumping in. We are the better for it. And everyone else, gosh, it's so good to see you guys again. So everyone, please be safe. Take care of yourself out there, and we'll see you next week.
How character do chestnuts boom? That's a very random thought in my head. I don't know why.
Yes,
chestnuts boom. Okay, cool.
Look, man,
oh my
she's
God.
thirsty and not just for champagne, okay?
I know, and I'm sorry, but we have like 3 more sessions after today. You gotta dangle.
Sex at 60 is for the star-crossed lovers.
Usually my Russian good society characters are too sad, so the connections are extra sad, so they can never come back.
Well, also, they have a nasty tendency not to have too many kids. So, I mean, may I point out that Masha is out there somewhere.
Oh, Jesus. Other games, other times. Yeah, Jesus.
I mean, one of the Morozov sisters did have a kid, or at least got married. So,
yeah. She didn't run off to London, even though she did live there. Yeah, their dickhead of a dad.
I'm gonna let you figure out what he's been up to, Kat, because I don't know. I don't feel right deciding for the characters.
Okay, I will think about that. I know where we left him. Sad. He was sad.
It seems to be a recurring thing.
Yeah, I know.
We left these characters sad.
We always leave these characters sad.
Yeah, you're really just living your best life, aren't you?
I really am. This is great. Hey, last time it was just an Easter egg. This time I'm going full blown. It's like we're in continuity now. This is a Star Wars Rebels of our Good Society game. This is like, it's just full of continuity stuff.
If I had known that, I would be even more deep into continuity, and so I just have these, much like
Yeah.
in Kingsport, endless string of sad women.
We've got one more of these coming up, my friend.
Considering the past of this table, I think that there's nothing off the table.
No?
Yeah. Oh boy.
Up to and including poisoning people.
I
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
go
this-
through with it.
Drugs are a kind of poison. Yeah, fair. That's true. Everybody was fine afterwards. They were just very sad for another couple decades, and then they all got happy. Well, except for Boris. Boris was never happy.
Oh, yeah, he wasn't. Really.
Yeah, I liked playing Veronica. I'm sorry if I went a little bit too Russian on that, too stereotypical Russian, but seemed right.
Lovely. What's lovely?